I had always eagerly awaited Mother's Day, but on that sunny May afternoon at my son's house, I discovered that this date would be remembered forever in the worst possible way. When I felt the icy pool water swallow me, drowning my lungs while I heard the laughter around me, I learned that disappointment always comes from those we least expect. Let me go back in time a bit, so you can understand how I arrived at that terrible moment. My name is Eleanor, and as a typical widow, I raised my son Harry alone. With much work and effort, I managed to help him become a successful engineer. When he introduced me to Chloe, I tried with an open heart to like her. She was a pretty girl and came from a family with that air of people who never had to fight for anything in life. It's strange how nowadays wealthy people still treat us poor folks as if we were a disease. And with that woman, it was no different. I could clearly perceive her poorly disguised contempt when she looked at me. But I swallowed my pride because my son loved her, and I just wanted to see him happy. At their wedding, her family didn't mingle with mine. They looked at us as if we were intruders at the party. I should have paid attention to that sign. In the following years, Chloe gradually pushed me away from my son. She always had an excuse not to visit me, always an important commitment that prevented them from spending a day of the week with me. I felt rejected, and a mother learns early on to swallow her pain so as not to bother her children. But that year, when Harry called to invite me to Mother's Day lunch at his new house, I was very excited and happy. Finally, we would have a family moment, I thought. I spent a week preparing, even bought gifts for everyone, prepared my famous apple pie that Harry had loved since he was little. I had my hair done at the salon, put on my favorite perfume. I wanted to look beautiful. I wanted my son to be proud of me. When I arrived that Sunday morning, the house was full of people. Chloe had invited her entire family, her parents, her 3 brothers with their wives, the nephews and nieces, even distant cousins I had never seen. The table was set with an elegance that intimidated me. Fine china plates, crystal glasses, expensive flower arrangements, everything so different from my simple gatherings. Harry received me with a tight hug, and I saw tears in his eyes. My son, my boy whom I hadn't seen in almost 2 months, was thinner, with deep dark circles under his eyes. Something wasn't right. My mother's heart knew it. But Chloe quickly pulled him away to receive other guests, leaving me alone in the living room, holding my purse and my apple pie like an idiot. During lunch, I was placed at the end of the table, far from Harry, surrounded by people who barely spoke to me. Chloe's mother, Mrs. Vanessa, a woman covered in jewels, made a point of speaking loudly about the family's latest international trip. Every word was a jab, reinforcing that I didn't belong to that world. I ate in silence, feeling the lump in my throat grow with each minute. I was completely uncomfortable and embarrassed. Then Chloe asked for everyone's attention and announced that she had a special surprise for Mother's Day. My heart leaped. Maybe she was going to announce a pregnancy. Maybe I would finally become a grandmother. But no. She handed a huge present to her own mother, wrapped in gold paper, while everyone applauded. It was an extremely expensive designer purse, and Mrs. Vanessa cried with emotion, hugging her daughter as if it were the most wonderful thing in the world. After lunch, everyone went out to the pool area. The afternoon was hot, the sun shining brightly. I was standing near the edge, watching the children play in the water, when Chloe approached me. She was carrying 2 glasses of champagne and extended one to me with a smile I thought was genuine. I accepted, grateful for the attention, thinking that maybe she was trying to be kind. That's when she started talking, quietly, just for me to hear. She said I was a busybody in Harry's life, that he only invited me out of pity, that I should be ashamed to show up dressed like that in such a beautiful house. I felt my hands tremble, the glass almost slipping from my fingers. I tried to move away, but she grabbed my arm tightly, digging her nails into my skin. And then, with a quick movement, she pushed me. The icy water swallowed me completely. For a second, I was disoriented, not knowing which way was up or down. My dress clung heavily to my body. My sandals came off my feet. When I managed to surface, gasping and panicking, I heard the laughter. Chloe's entire family was laughing at my situation. Mrs. Vanessa practically doubled over with laughter, the brothers-in-law making loud comments about clumsy old women. But the worst part wasn't the laughter. The worst part was seeing Chloe standing at the edge of the pool with that victorious smile on her face, as if she had just conquered the world. She knew exactly what she had done. That wasn't an accident. It was premeditated humiliation, designed to destroy me in front of everyone, to put me in my place. I tried to get out of the pool, but my arms were shaking so much I couldn't support myself. Water was going up my nose, and for a terrifying moment, I thought I was going to drown right there, in that luxurious pool, while everyone laughed at the ridiculous old woman. That's when I felt strong hands pulling me, lifting me out of the water. It was Harry. My son wrapped me in his arms, and when I looked at his face, I saw something I had never seen before: uncontrollable fury. He sat me down in a chair, covered my shoulders with a towel, and turned to Chloe. Harry asked, in a low voice, what she had done. Chloe tried to feign innocence, saying I had slipped because I was clumsy, that it was an accident. But her own cousin, a teenager who was nearby, murmured that she saw everything, that Chloe had pushed me on purpose. What happened next was like watching a dam break. All the years of manipulation, of accumulated disrespect, exploded all at once. Harry shouted like I had never heard him shout. He said that for 3 years he had swallowed the humiliations Chloe inflicted on me, the malicious insinuations, the constant disdain. He said he had pretended not to notice because he wanted to save the marriage, because he had hoped she would change. But now, seeing his own mother almost drown while his wife's family laughed, he couldn't pretend everything was fine, that his wife was out of control. Chloe tried to defend herself, cried fake tears, and begged my son to believe her. Her family was outraged by Harry's reaction, accusing him of being dramatic and disrespectful. Mrs. Vanessa demanded that he apologize to her daughter, but my son was beyond reason. He walked to the front door and opened it completely. He looked at each member of Chloe's family and declared that they all had exactly 5 minutes to leave his house. He said he didn't want any of them in his life anymore, that the meanness and arrogance of that family had poisoned his marriage from the beginning. When his father-in-law tried to argue, Harry was clear. Either they left willingly, or he would call the police. The confusion was total. Mrs. Vanessa screamed that they couldn't do this to her daughter. The brothers-in-law threatened to sue. The children cried without understanding what was happening. But Harry remained firm at the door, with his phone stopwatch in hand, counting the minutes. One by one they grabbed their bags and left, casting looks of hatred at me, as if all of this were my fault. Chloe was the last to leave, crying and begging for one last chance. Harry simply closed the door in her face and locked it from inside. When we were finally alone, he broke down. My son, that strong 40-year-old man, knelt in front of me and cried like a child. He asked forgiveness for allowing them to treat me badly, for being a coward, for choosing the peace of marriage over his own mother's dignity. I held his face between my wrinkled hands and told him the truth I carry in my heart. A mother forgives everything when it comes to her child. In the days that followed, Chloe tried everything to come back. She sent messages, called from different numbers, even showed up at the door with lawyers. But Harry had made his decision. He filed for divorce the following month. The house that was theirs is now only his, and mine, because he insists that I live with him, that I never stay away again. I know my son is suffering. I see it in his dark circles, in the way he sometimes stares at nothing. A broken marriage always leaves scars, even when the decision is the right one. But I also see something new being born in him: self-respect, the courage to defend what's right, the strength to choose true love instead of appearances. Today, when I look back, I still feel the icy pool water swallowing me. I still hear those malicious laughs. The humiliation of that day will never be forgotten. But I learned something precious: that dignity is priceless, that true family isn't defined by marriage ties, but by who stands by your side in the darkest moments. I learned that some painful endings are actually new beginnings in disguise, and that the love between mother and son, when it's true, survives any storm, even the one that almost drowned me in a pool on a Mother's Day afternoon.